Hi there. Um, this is a setup that I have for the machining the side angles of the RAM, uh, and I'm gonna, before I continue, I'm almost on my final cut now, I believe. This is just on one side, and I thought I'd just tell you how I set this up at the angle. Um, the size of the RAM is 10.5 inches long, and it's really too big for this little machine, so I don't have an awful lot of room to set up with clamps and so forth. And I know it may look a little bit of a mess with the clamps, but it seems to be working. So like everything else, I have a 5-inch sine bar, but it's way too big to set up on here, so I had to work with my trusty protractor, as you can see there. And I have one of these. This is a Starrett. I don't know what you call it, but it has two blades that are adjustable. So what I did was I set up my protractor to 22 degrees. I'd already done a drawing on the draft site and determined that the distance between the top of the dovetail in that end here, just that point there, to the outside, or to the point where it makes contact with the top part here that's machined 1 inch. Anyway, I did it on the computer, and it worked out to roughly 22 inches. So that's what I have been working from. And what I did was I set this up on my protractor, and I got the 22 degree mark. So that gave me something to work to, which was much smaller. And as you can see, when the RAM is set up on the table, there's still not a lot of room to set the angle of the base at 22 degrees. So I got a piece of gauge plate. I think you call them, what you call it, Kuwaitan ground stock, and I clamped it on here, and that gave me plenty of support on the base and lots of room to come in and roughly set this up to 22 degrees. And I gripped it with my trusty edge clamps that I have. I've got 4 of these. A bit large but big, but I think they're about the smallest ones that you can get from this company. I think Essentra has some of these in stock, but they're about $60 or $70 a piece, I believe. Anyway, that's what I've used. I've one at each end to grip the ends of the RAM and to stabilize it. That allowed me to get my gauge on the table and to tap that as it was lightly gripped by the edge clamps, and to tap that until I got a nice contact on that angle. And then what I did after that was once I'd got that locked in at that angle, and the dovetail is down in the T-slot, so it's wedged in there, which is very handy because it lines everything up as long as it's wedged in there all the way along. The angle is correct, so that's how it's set up in the T-slot and leaning over at 22 degrees. Then I got my two odd angle blocks that were originally punches in a die at one time, and I know they're square, so then I placed each one at each end up against the edge, the back edge of the dovetail, and locked that in with a piece of paper, ordinary printing paper, to determine that the clamp is exactly up against the back edge. So that was, the paper was locked in there, so it was nice and tight. And then I clamped the two angle blocks up, and then from there I managed to get my two toolmaker's clamps, 5-inch toolmaker's clamps, and managed to get it locked in up against the faceplate. And with the edge clamps attached here at each end, that held the thing down and didn't allow the setup to slide up the face of the angle plate when I was applying pressure along here. I wanted to make sure that nothing was going to move. So I've taken some light cuts, maybe 15-20 thou deep, and I've gradually whittled down the material until I'm meshing, my tool bit is meshing in the corner of the dovetail and this face, and now I'm doing the final cut and coming out this way, and finishing up at this outer edge here. So I'll now that I've explained that somewhat, just to give you an idea, because these videos, they take too long and I don't know how to edit, so I've decided to get most of the work done and then do a little bit of videoing at the very end. So I'm going to do some cuts along here. I have to come up to this point here and stop and come out this way, because this section here is different to the form that I have on this side. So I have to duplicate this machine surface here. I have to duplicate it on this side as well, but just a little bit, about ½ an inch. So I'll do that afterwards, but this will give you an idea of the setup and what I have. I have a toolmaker's clamp just here, makes contact with this cross slide, and gives me a datum to come up to. Okay, so I'll carry on now. This is a very little, it's only about a 5 thou cut in depth. And to say, if you have one of these machines, buy yourself one of these single flute holders, single insert holders. It works really well. I'm really happy with it. Just some Banggood, that's all cheap, yeah, cheap as anything. I've had it several times where I'm machining and the tool bit, the toolmaker's clamp has popped off because of the vibration and the form of the that it's trying to clamp. It's not flat surfaces. So that's one of the reasons why I took lighter cuts. So this is a section in the middle. I did the outside run first, and then I went over to the inside, and that left a section in the middle that's higher. I'm probably taking off about 25 thou. So it's just a thin strip. These covers really work well. Like I've said before, I've got a diamond grinder that I built, and I use that to just clean up the cutting surface of these inserts, and I get more life out of them. Works really great. This section here is where the 3-inch pendulum is going to be that automatically moves the carriage across on the x-axis, and there's holes that have got to go in here for pins to go through, and that's what actuates the pendulum and controls the direction of feed. So so there you go. That's where are we? Where are you? There you go. So there you go. Now the other side will be a bit easier because it goes right the way through, and I don't have to stop and add this part here. So there you go. So I'm going to cool off now, and I'm quite happy with that. Then I'll finish off on the other side of this section here, and hopefully then I can take it off and turn it round, and I should be able to work to these dimensions that I'm on now. I can leave these angle plates and just move it over and set it up in exactly the same way. It should be identical, hopefully. Okay, I'll sign off now, and we'll see you another time. Thanks.